In 1914, Europe was a fragile web of empires bound by mutual defense treaties, whose leaders blindly prepared for a short, glorious conflict. The spark came in the Balkans, when a 19-year-old nationalist assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. Austria-Hungary accused neighboring Serbia of aiding the assassin and issued an ultimatum demanding humiliating concessions. When Serbia refused, Austria-Hungary declared war, triggering a cascading chain reaction of treaties. Russia mobilized to defend Serbia, which immediately pulled France into the fray. German Emperor Wilhelm II promised unconditional support to his Austro-Hungarian allies. Seeing a clash with Russia as inevitable, he actively expanded the conflict by declaring war on both Russia and its ally France. Facing a war on two fronts, Germany executed the Schlieffen Plan. Their armies advanced rapidly through neutral Belgium, intending to encircle Paris and knock France out of the fight before the massive Russian army could fully mobilize in the east. The British Expeditionary Force arrived just in time to join the retreating French. Together, they made a desperate counterattack at the River Marne, 40 miles outside Paris, halting the German advance and exhausting both armies. Forced to survive the unprecedented lethality of machine gun fire and artillery shells, soldiers on both sides dug hundreds of miles of defensive earthworks. The initial strategy of rapid movement completely failed. By winter, neither side knew how to achieve victory, locking the great powers into an inescapable industrial stalemate. With the Western Front entirely deadlocked, both alliances desperately sought backdoor victories on new global fronts. The Allies launched a massive amphibious assault at Gallipoli, hoping to bypass Europe entirely and knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war. Instead, they met fierce Turkish resistance and spent months pinned down on the beaches. At sea, Germany deployed unrestricted submarine warfare. Their U-boats prowled beneath the waves, sinking merchant ships without warning to cut off maritime supply lines and starve Britain's economy. In May, a U-boat torpedoed the British passenger liner Lusitania. Nearly 1,200 people drowned, including 128 Americans, outraging neutral public opinion across the United States. Back on the Western Front, the Germans released clouds of lethal chlorine to clear Allied trenches. This introduction of poison gas immediately sparked a terrifying chemical arms race. These innovations failed to break the deadlock. Instead, through naval blockades targeting food supplies and the first strategic bombing of cities by German Zeppelins, the war reached past the trenches to target civilian populations directly. By 1916, military leaders abandoned the goal of capturing territory. The new tactical reality was attrition, firing millions of artillery shells to bleed the opposing armies entirely white. At the fortress town of Verdun and along the River Somme, infantry divisions were fed into the line almost as fast as they could be destroyed. This chart shows the terrifying mathematical reality of attrition. Millions of men were killed or wounded over months of slaughter, yielding only a few negligible yards of ground. Desperate to cross no man's land, the British deployed the first armored tanks. While a mechanical marvel, early models were too few in number and highly prone to breaking down. The fighting in 1916 proved that industrial warfare had completely outpaced human endurance. The battlefields became mechanical meat grinders, offering no strategic exit. After 3 years of unrelenting strain, the foundational structures of the warring nations began to collapse. Enormous casualties and severe bread shortages triggered a revolution in Russia. A provisional government fell to the Bolsheviks, who swiftly signed an armistice and knocked the Russian Empire completely out of the war. The Ottoman Empire also began to disintegrate as Arab rebels, aided by British military advisors like T.E. Lawrence, seized strategic ports and pushed toward Damascus. Meanwhile, Germany's reckless resumption of unrestricted submarine warfare, combined with an intercepted telegram encouraging Mexico to attack America, pushed U.S. President Woodrow Wilson to declare war. With Russia defeated, Germany had a brief window to act. They were forced into one final, desperate gamble to win the war before the American industrial juggernaut could fully mobilize across the Atlantic. Faster, more urgent tone. Germany launched the Ludendorff Spring Offensive, a massive, fast-moving assault that overwhelmed the British trenches. But the rapid advance quickly outpaced its supply lines, leaving German troops exhausted and starving. The Allies countered with the 100 Days Offensive, By successfully combining infantry with tanks and aircraft, they shattered the German defenses and sent the enemy into full retreat. As their allies surrendered and revolution spread at home, the German Kaiser abdicated. On November 11, 1918, a new German republic signed an armistice to end the fighting. At the Paris Peace Conference, the victors imposed a harsh reality on Germany. The Versailles Treaty demanded massive financial reparations, severe military restrictions, and a humiliating war guild clause. This map shows the 19th century geopolitical map dissolving. The Russian, Austro-Hungarian, and Ottoman empires were dismantled. 9.5 million soldiers died in a war that transformed the world's map. The final peace treaty imposed terms that would remain a source of lasting resentment, ensuring the grievances of the Great War remained unresolved.